Well, hey, peepers. It's me again, Margaret. Oh, no, I'm not talking to somebody named Margaret. That is like a little joke that a comedian by the name of Ray Stevens used to say. And so I just say it. So, but if your name is Margaret, hey. But Almighty wants me to do a part two to the tithing thing. Um, he calls it an offering. So if I say offering, you're going to know exactly what it means. The Almighty says that, first off, offerings should not ever be taken up in the sanctuary, ever. Because even Jesus went out and turned over tables and money exchangers and said, "You have made my Father's house a den of thieves or robbers." It's a house of prayer, and you're not supposed to do business in the worship area at all. So if you're going to give tithes, make a drop box out by the pastor's door or something, or send it in through the mail. But doing it in the sanctuary upsets God, because that is supposed to be a place where you worship Him, not a place where you do business for Caesar, as he put it. And that's what that offering that you're giving monetarily is for Caesar. It's for the electricity. It's for any utility. It's for paying somebody to do grass, or it's for paying a pastor for his services, or whatever it is. And he said that is not a place to gather an offering of that sort. That's monetarily. That is Caesar's business in his house, and he doesn't approve. So, with that said, he doesn't require money. So he doesn't want it done in his temple, because his temple is for prayer and worship to him, not your business. So he said, cleanse your temples and get that evil out of his sanctuaries. So take that offering plate and go put it in front of somebody else's door, but not his. That's what storehouses are for. And that money is to be stored in that storehouse and only used for the temple and its needs, and its church needs, its family needs. And anyone who is part of a church becomes a church family. You're one family. It's an extended part of your family, not your immediate family, but your family, your church family. You are his children. Those are your brothers and sisters. Okay? God doesn't differentiate that men are of higher standard than women. He doesn't. That is why in the beginning he said, in the image of God made he male and female, and in the image of him he made he them. And that's why when Adam, even in the second one, when he and Eve was around, he said that they were husband and wife. And together they became twined and became one. Not Adam and Eve under his feet, or Adam and Eve at his side. They became one, twined. They became one person. God didn't look at man and woman as being two different deities and one being less than the other. That's why even in the Revelation, it talks about women, his sons and daughters will prophesy, will spread the word. Because he doesn't differentiate like human people, whether it be of old ancient times and even in modern times, want to try and say, hey, we're revered more than this. No. God says no. Cut that in that, because that is not so. That's not true. And in many places in the Bible, he plainly states that we're equal. When he put us as one, And when he plainly stated, he made them in an image of God. Why would God want something in his image stepped on, made to feel so worthless? He doesn't. So church needs to get that out of their head. Okay? What was done back in the times of Israel, what was done back then, the sins of their people, don't put in this generation, because it's not so. It's not true. And we all should tithe, as Christians say. But according to God, we should all give an offering. Doesn't matter, man, woman, or child. Children can give offerings as well. Bring your child to church. Let them help you clean it. Let them help you cut the grass. Let them help you make out whatever flyers you might need. Teach your children to be responsible for the temple of God. That is their offering. He doesn't need your money. Caesar needs your money. So in order for that church to function, Caesar says you need to pay your utilities. You need to pay your taxes. You need to pay your pastor. Caesar gives you these things and says this is what you have to pay. So is money needed for your temple to operate? Yes. Does God require money to bless you? No. That's false teaching, he said. So if you're a carpenter, and let's say there's 6 carpenters in a church of maybe 50 people. This is an offering. Watch this. The church takes a monetary offering and they put it in the storehouse where it belongs. It doesn't belong in the sanctuary. And let's say these 6 carpenters notice that something needs to be repaired in the church. They all get together. They find out what supplies are needed and how much is it going to cost. They split the bill. If it's more than what they can afford all together, then they go to the church. Then they go behind and they go to the storeroom. And they receive the extra money needed in order to get the supplies. That's what that storeroom's for. That's what the extra money is for. It's not there are some churches out there that God said that they pay off their utilities. They pay these things. And then if they have extra money, they give it to the minister. He said that's not how that works. The minister, if he's requiring a payment, needs to be a certain payment, and anything else goes to the storeroom to repair the church, to be there in case one of the church members is in need of something. That's what it's for. Because the church members are the family, and the temple is God's house. And you should be able to go in and out of God's house at any given time of the day or night for help, for sanctuary, for guidance. But he says his sanctuaries are not open. They're closed. He says, you know why they're closed? And I asked him, I said, well, why are they closed? I mean, I had an idea why they were closed. And he said, because they have things in those sanctuaries and things in those churches that I don't approve of. Because they don't want someone stealing something. It's a house of prayer. And I was like, well, yeah. He said, so why do you have things in there that's so expensive that kings and queens probably would need, but he doesn't need? Because it's a house of prayer. house of worship. And if you've got something in there that someone's going to steal, well, then you have something in there that you shouldn't have. And if the doors are locked and shut according to God, he said that's what there's deacons for. If the minister can't be there 24/7, then that's why he has deacons. And they need to figure out who can be there and who can't and make a schedule. So that there's always someone, always a man or woman of God in that sanctuary, so that if someone comes to that door and pulls that door, that it's not locked. That God's house is not locked. That people can come to him. That was the whole idea. People to come to him in times of need, in times of guidance, for sanction. It's a sanctuary. So that's what your offering is to go for, is to make sure that God's house is always open. Make sure God's house is always clean. Make sure the premises around God's house is clean. To make sure that there, people can come in and say, I'm hungry, and you feed them. I can't pay. I attend here every day, and I can't pay my utilities, and God's house pays that. Granted, he said, if it becomes something that you're constantly doing for the same person all the time, then that is a wolf in sheep's clothing. They're utilizing, and they know you're going to do it. He said, call it out. Call it out for what it is, and they will either be angry and upset and leave and never come back, or they'll be so ashamed of themselves that they'll turn from their wicked ways. So, give your offerings of monetary. Give your offering of your time. Give your offering of your skills, your talents for your church, for your people of your church, because that's your family as well. You're all brothers and sisters in Christ. And remember to always keep something in the storeroom for times of need, whether it be for the church or for its people. Well, I love you. That's part 2. That's what he said. So, I love you. He loves you. And have a blessed and wonderful day. And remember, he's waiting.